The next thing I'm going to do is put the oil and distributor drive gear in. You will see this little gear right here. This interacts or connects to the camshaft gear. So I wanted to show you where that was real quick like. Hopefully that doesn't roll around. And here, there we go. Is that focused? Focused enough. At least you can see in there. There we go. That's the gear that's on the camshaft. And that's the gear that the oil gear is going to interact with to turn the oil pump and turn the distributor. So that's the first thing that I'm going to put in right here along with this spring. Okay, so what I need to do is to get this in here and lined up. No problem. That's connected to the gear, camshaft gear, no sweat. The trick is getting the oil pump to line up with that groove. You can see that little groove at the end of the oil pump, right? So that's the trick. And trying to turn this thing one tooth at a time. I don't know that there's any easier way than this. But I'm lifting it out and I'm rotating the shaft, which means there we go. So now it's in flush. I just got to make sure when I put the spring on here that I don't turn this thing. So I'm going to pull out the oil pump, set it aside. Oh, that's not going to turn. It's the other side of the shaft on the oil pump that I don't want to turn. Okay, so now we got to put this spring in here, which I don't know. I've never done this before, so it might be a trick to it. Okay, I can see one thing to turn the end of it up. There. And then I brought a screwdriver just in case I needed to somehow wedge this thing in here. There. That wasn't so tough. And let's push all the way down into the little groove that's in the block. And there you go. That was pretty easy. And then the other thing is, here's the drive shaft for the distributor. And you'll see on here that is offset. You see how that slot is offset from the center? The same way on the other side. So that goes down in here, and I'm just going to shove it in here just to make sure. Once I put the valve cover on, I don't want any mistakes here. So anyway, so the shaft is on there, no problem, to the distributor. We'll pull that out, set it aside. This is ready to turn upright and put the pan on, but right now I'm going to put the valve cover gasket on and the valve cover. Am I missing anything? Do I need to do anything more to this area? I don't think so. So let's get that valve cover on right now. Here is our valve cover gasket, and it calls for, nope, it goes this way. It calls for either dry or a thin film of grease. So I think what I'm going to do is just put a little grease down here on the bottom. I don't think the oil, when it gets pumped up, I don't think it gets any higher than this before it drains back out into the return. So I think I'm just going to put a little grease on the bottom side here, and that should be good enough. You know, these engines are so easy to work on. This is really quite an engineering feat for back in the 20s and the 30s. And now there's so many parts readily available and engine rebuilders and whatnot. Even a backyard, once in a blue moon mechanic like me can do this. Of course, only time will tell if I got it right after we start it, right? Okay, so that's on there. And we're going to put this on. Did that go that way? I think that did. Or did it go this way? Nope, it went this way. All right. We'll put a little grease on this side as well. I don't know if it'll make a difference or not sealing this up. I sure hope it does. Only when this thing gets warmed up, we'll tell. And the instructions call for 20 foot-pounds of torque on these bolts. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, that looks good too. Here's our valve cover. We'll set that in place like that. Whoops, it's upside down. It's not going to work if it's upside down. There we go. And what I'm using here are stainless steel bolts and washers on the valve cover, as well as the oil pan. And I've been reading online some of the forums about the benefits or not the benefits. Oh, you know what? I remember something else I read that you're supposed to do. One individual, I don't remember which forum that I found this on, suggested putting a wrap of Teflon tape on these bolts so that oil will not leak through the threads. And I think that's a great idea, and I'm going to give it a try here. And it's not going to take that much time, and I've got the material. So that's what I'm going to do. It sure makes sense to me. Okay, so let me finish putting these on here. You guys don't need to watch this video of every single bolt being taped and screwed in here. So I'll come back to this here in a little bit. So the valve cover's on. We're going to put the oil return line on later. And so now it's time for the oil pan. The next engine-related video shows more parts being added. When the engine is finished being put together, a very special guest will offer feedback on what I did right and wrong. You won't believe who the guest will be. Don't miss it. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you wish to see future videos as this 1930 Model A 4-door is being restored. And check out ModelAT-shirts.com. There is some really cool stuff depicting Model A's. Thanks for watching.